Hello, everyone. Welcome to CNP TV's first Emmy reaction show. We are here to discuss the Emmy nominations that came out this morning. I'm Charles Stevens, and I guess I will be the host for this discussion. And I invited two of our CNP tribe members to join me in this conversation who also watch TV and I guess pay very close attention to pop culture. Why don't we just jump in? So I have Johnnie Cornegay and L. Michael Gibson, and we're gonna break it down. So I know that y'all are eager to talk about the snubs. I know there's a lot of energy with that, but before we get into the snubs, can we start with what we actually think about the people that have been nominated and the movies and the performances and such? So why don't we just start there? Michael, I know you got reactions. Let's start with you. What are your initial reactions to
Well, I want to first acknowledge the fact that this is probably the most Black people ever nominated in Emmy history. Watchmen has 26 nominations, which is one of the most nominated series also in Emmy history, and that's significant because the show was centering Blackness. I think that there's a lot that's to celebrate here. Yes, I have lots to say about the snubs. but overall, in terms of, the Emmys responding to the moment, I think the Emmys recognize that in this, last year, I think there was some kind of Emmy so white thoughts, even though some Black people did win. I think this is going to be interesting. I guess my only fear is that in some of the categories, you have multiple Black people giving equally good performances, and they may cancel each other out. So,
yeah, I was definitely. I'm sorry.
No, go ahead. Go ahead, Charles.
I was going to say that I was definitely really excited about Watchmen, particularly Regina King's performance. I remember watching it, and I think I was raving to anyone that would listen just about how great the show was. I was really surprised because I'm like, how is this even on television? Because usually the politics of the show, I was just impressed with the envelope, like how it pushed the envelope on certain things, the amazing performances. Really across the board. I was just really happy with the success of The Watchmen. It was actually one of the shows I was really rooting for this year. Johnnie, I think you had something?
Yeah, no, I'm going to echo The Watchmen as well. I thought that was the smartest show that I had seen in a very long time. And so to see it be nominated and get the attention that I feel like it rightfully deserves is so important to me. I was grinning ear to ear just on that. And so to Michael's point about the Emmys responding to the moment, I actually even enjoyed the way that they announced the nominations this year. I felt like it connected with people. I felt like there was a way that this feels like something that I want to watch. I would watch the Emmys in the past because I like TV, but I feel like this will actually bring other people to the show to just be like, wait a minute, what show is that? Like, they'll be curious. And I felt like the way they did the whole presentation was perfect.
Let's just go ahead and get into some of the major categories and what we think about the nominees. Now, I'll be honest, I have not seen all the shows and all the performances.
Neither have I.
I will own that. Maybe we can just kind of fill in for each other. I'm also looking down a lot because I actually printed out the nominees, so this is kind of like helping to. I can't remember all that off the top of my head, and I can't be trying to Google while we talk. So, outstanding drama series. We have Better Call Saul. Mm-hmm. We have The Crown, The Handmaid's Tale, Killing Eve, The Mandalorian, Ozark, Stranger Things, and Succession. What are thoughts about the nominees in this category?
Some of them I feel like are about what's popular. I love The Mandalorian. I don't know that I would have nominated it for this particular category. But it was extremely popular, right? Like, everybody loves Baby Yoda, And I also think that there is a critique to be made about the Emmys kind of having their faves and those voters of the Emmys kind of sometimes having tunnel vision. When I think about shows like David Makes Man or Queen Sugar that didn't make it, Devs that didn't make it, some genre shows that are equally dramatic. Better Call Saul again.
Right.
Have you seen
It kind of was like, what can be done with the Academy to encourage them to broaden their viewership's viewing, so that it's not kind of like, oh, how we say about Meryl Streep, her again.
I mean, I'll say of the shows, I am probably most familiar with Succession, which I love on HBO.
Yes.
So I was happy Succession. I mean, the second season was just
off
ridiculous.
the chain, bananas good.
I'm just like, I don't know if I've ever seen a show that was really great, and then in the second season, it was like even better.
Even better.
So I was happy to see that. Stranger Things, I'll be honest, I really was all about Stranger Things in the first 2 seasons or so. I didn't love the last season. I was like, I don't think I watched the final episode. I just wasn't into it.
And see, my thing with Stranger Things in this particular category, I mean, I guess I get why it fits here. It also, when I think about the other shows that it's in category with, I was like, Stranger Things though? And this is coming from a person as well like you, Charles. I loved the first 2 seasons. I did watch all of season 3, and actually kind of got into it towards the end. But when I heard it was nominated in this category, I was like, oh, okay, well, okay.
I was a big Breaking Bad fan. I even loved El Camino, which got nominated a lot this season, deservedly so. I never was a fan of Better Call Saul. I love the characters in it outside of Saul, but because Saul is so repugnant to me that I absolutely can't watch a whole show dedicated to him, even though I love, Giancarlo and all of the rest of those amazing actors. But Stranger Things, I actually did see all 3 seasons like yourself. I'm a total nerd for that kind of show. Like, I am exactly who that audience is for. And it wasn't as good as the previous seasons, but I also just, it was very comfort food. It was very Angie Stone. You already know what you're going to get.
The Music Soul Child of, like, TV shows.
Right, you know what you're going to get, and she does what she's going to do, and, I binged her in a day.
But the tone shifted in the third, because I think it got too, I guess because they're older now.
They were mature.
Right.
Teen angsty stuff. And so they're in the mall, and there's all of this. I remember being really annoyed by, like, the teen romance parts of it.
Well,
because I feel like that's a different show. I'm like, that's not what we started off with. But I get it, right? So they're getting older, and they need to, like, grapple with that. But I was just, I don't know, I just didn't, it wasn't as, like, I think the tone felt different. Like, it just didn't resonate with me as much. All right, let's move to Outstanding Comedy Series. So the nominees in Outstanding Comedy Series are Curb Your Enthusiasm, Dead to Me, The Good Place, Insecure, The Kaminsky Method, The Marvelous Mrs. Maisel, is it?
Yep.
Schitt's Creek, and What We Do in the Shadows. Oh, that's interesting. Thoughts about those nominees?
What We Do in the Shadows got nominated a lot. And it's funny because I felt like El Spooky, which is on HBO, does a similar thing and was a better show. In the Spanish center, it's like Latinx centered. There's a character that is incredibly funny, playing a gay man, who's like the deadpan, like he's distilling every scene in the show. So I kind of want to see El Spooky get that slot that I saw that get. Curb Your Enthusiasm is kind of, for me, it's like, again, I know I like Larry David, he's funny, but like, here we go again, like, girl, like, how many, it's like, you again, girl. Like, you could just tell who are the faves of those viewers because they're always the same ones. I was excited to see Insecure in this position, particularly since I thought this was a much more complicated. Like, some people didn't like this last season. I actually did I loved this last season because I thought it showed a very complicated friendship unraveling, and we've all had friends we've outgrown. And I like being able to see Black folks do regular life experience, life challenges, not getting knocked upside the head, not always getting beat up by the police, not always suffering through slavery. Like, it was great to just see two girlfriends, coming apart in a very organic way, and then trying to figure out, well, what's the way forward. So yeah, I thought, I was excited by some of those categories. I mean, some of those selections.
Mm-hmm. I agree too. Dead to Me, Schitt's Creek, all of that. I was good with this category.
Yeah, I don't really have a lot. I don't have a lot for this category. Although I will say, for the first time last month, I started watching Curb Your Enthusiasm, and I was like, "Oh, okay." Yeah. I mean, it.
I mean, it's Larry David's deadpan. Yeah. It's Seinfeld all over.
It's not quite, because I wasn't really into Seinfeld, so it's not quite my type of comedy, but it is. I think COVID has definitely made me more experimental in my entertainment, because I watched stuff I would never watch before.
Even then, I'm not watching the Kaminsky Method, and I watched Your Faith. Like, you was like, "What's the Kaminsky Method?"
Right.
Like, Michael Douglas and I think it's Alan Arkin, are great, but I'm not interested in that. Like, the premise wasn't even interesting to me.
I remember reading some of the reporting about it, but yeah, I'm not taking a dive. So this is a category I'm really excited about, which is Outstanding Limited Series. Mm-hmm. And this is Little Fires Everywhere, Mrs. America, Unbelievable, Unorthodox, and Watchmen.
Can we talk really quickly about what I love about this category is it crystallizes, I think, how TV has changed so much in the last 5 years, and how I'm sure, and how Netflix and Hulu and all of these, and Amazon Prime, how they've had such an impact on the way we consume television. And I love that these amazing series that may have 10 episodes are like, this is the best TV of the year. Watch this. Stream it all, watch it again, because it's great television. And that's what I love about this category.
It almost makes me, though, wish we had a separate Emmy show just for streaming shows, because they're trying to keep the number limited of who they nominate. So many amazing streaming shows just aren't going to make this cut, and absolutely should make this cut. I mean, it's great to have things like Maisel, which I love, or in this limited series category. I'm a fan of most of the things that were listed there. I've watched it and enjoyed it. But I also feel like there were some things we missed as a result of trying to include broadcast and cable and streaming. Like, it's 500 shows, 500 scripted shows. Like, and you just know some great stuff is being missed as a result. So, I mean, I didn't have a problem with this category as it was. I mean, of course, I can kvetch about some things here or there.
So, which show are you rooting for?
Say that list again.
Little Fires Everywhere, Mrs. America, Unbelievable,
Watchmen. Yeah, I mean, I love Miss America. Miss America. Mrs. America. MRS. I loved Mrs. America, and I loved Little Fires Everywhere, but Watchmen was just groundbreaking.
Agreed.
I mean, I definitely enjoyed Mrs. America quite a bit. I really got into it. It's funny. So I was just looking up the actress's name that played. I was looking up Rose Byrne, and I was watching Insidious. Yeah, I've been on this whole like horror film, the 2010s thing, and I was like, oh, she was in that, But now, she's playing Gloria Steinem, in Mrs. America. So yeah, it was, but I definitely love Mrs. America quite a bit. I think that was one of my favorite things I watched. Wait, was Watchmen? It came out in 2019, right?
End of the year, I think. Right? Yeah.
I don't feel like I watched that in 2020. But I mean, like before, it's like times like
It's hard.
I don't know what was happening. I'm sorry, but anyway, nonetheless, Mrs. America is probably my favorite recent thing that I've seen. Mm-hmm. But I definitely, of course, I mean, I want Watchmen. I'm definitely rooting for that. But I did enjoy Mrs. America quite a bit. Let's see. Let's skip to performances. And why don't we just do outstanding lead actor? I know Michael's going to be tempted to talk about who's not in the category, but I want to hold off on that. We're going to do that. But outstanding lead actor in a drama series, Jason Bateman in Ozark, Sterling Brown in This Is Us, Steve Carell in The Morning Show, Brian Cox, Succession, Billy Porter in Pose, and Jeremy Strong in Succession. Thoughts? Who you're rooting for? Who you're rooting against?
I know I'm supposed to say Billy, and I love Billy Porter.
Michael Gibson. You better say
we love.
I mean, I love Billy Porter, and but in that category with those performances, I mean, I think I could take off Jason Bateman because Jason Bateman plays Jason Bateman in everything. It's just the degrees of level of deadpan.
My favorite Jason Bateman was probably what was that show that he did on Fox? The comedy
Arrested Development.
Arrested Development,
which is my absolute favorite. I mean, so Ozark, to me, his performance in Ozark is just like a darker version of the same character, in like he's put upon by his family, without the humor, right? Like, but it's the same kind of tone. So yeah, I mean, I could take him off. I think that the son in Succession has to do so much work. He has to show such a range of emotion.
Jeremy Strong.
I'm probably, would give it to Jeremy.
It's interesting to have Brian Cox and Jeremy Strong competing against each other. I'm like, that's really interesting. But I mean,
I was shocked by that too.
That second season of Succession, that was intense. All right,
what about you all? Who are you? Is that who you're rooting for?
I don't have anybody. I think I'm. Yeah, and I'm excited that Billy is nominated in this category again this year because I think the work that he does on Pose is just outstanding and tremendous, and he damn deserves it.
But if Billy Porter can't get it, then Sterling Brown.
I mean,
confession. Mm-hmm. So I have a confession. I haven't watched This Is Us.
Wait, what?
Haven't watched it. It's one of those. Here's the thing. It's one of those shows that I don't. The heavy dramas. Sometimes I need a moment, and I know I'm gonna get to it. But every time, because it's a very social media based show where people be like, I'm crying at This Is Us. And I'm like, you know what? I'm okay. I'm okay. That's my confession in this category.
Oh my God. Well, Sterling does amazing work in everything he's in. I'm just also a proponent. If you got an Emmy or two, I want to see somebody else get a shot.
My favorite Sterling Brown show performance was in the 90s. He was on
Army Wives?
He was on this FX show called Starved, and it was about a support group for people with eating disorders.
Oh, wow.
And Sterling Brown played a police officer that was bulimic. It was
really
bizarre show on FX in the early 90s, well, maybe mid 90s. Very edgy, very dark. Because FX used to be kind of, it had a different, it was FX. I mean, it was just so edgy. It was so just not the performance that you see a lot of black men I just thought he was kind of playing against type. He was also in this, I've been such a huge evangelist for this experimental TV thing that it's like this science fiction. It was supposed to be like a science fiction pilot about this group of black men that go into a cabin, and then there's an alien abduction. I talked to y'all about this, right? Have y'all not seen it?
No.
Oh snap! I have to send it. It's still. I think it might still be on YouTube. And it was like written by, I forget the playwright's name. I'll look it up. But yeah, it was like this group of black men. It's like these 4 black male friends, and they're going for a weekend together. One of them's gay. One of them's like going through a divorce. It's just like they all have these different like life stuff happening, and they're going. And I guess they have like a brothers. Let's have a rich.
This sounds like the plot for Dreamcatcher by Stephen King.
You know what?
Mm-hmm.
It actually is kind of reminiscent, except I don't know if they have the shared childhood piece. But it is,
okay.
and there isn't like the innocent, like but it was like, I don't think I've ever seen this before. Anyway, so that's my favorite Stolen Brand. Okay, outstanding lead actress in a drama series. Okay, I think that's what this category is. Yeah, there's Jennifer. I know this is gonna be very controversial. Jennifer Aniston in The Morning Show, Olivia Colman in The Crown, Jodie Comer in Killing Eve, Laura Linney in Ozark, Sandra Oh in Killing Eve, and Zendaya in Euphoria.
Shout out to Zendaya, man. I just wanted to say that.
My relationship to Euphoria, Johnny, is like your relationship to This Is Us, because it's like, I know it's brilliant. I saw like an episode or two. I was like, this is too much for me right now. This is a lot. I'm gonna come back to it, but it's too much for me.
Oh, Zendaya is absolutely brilliant in it. I love the show. I thought it deserved more nominations than it received. Yeah, like I'm a huge fan of Euphoria. So yeah, I would say Zendaya for me.
I love Sandra Oh in Killing Eve. So.
All right.
She got it for Grey's Anatomy.
She could get it again.
What about you, Charles? Who are you rooting for in this category?
I don't know. These shows aren't the shows I'm most familiar with. Mm-hmm. So I was going to watch The Crown this season because I wanted to see how Olivia Colman did. But again, it's like I just didn't get to it.
She's good. I mean, I love The Crown. I'm a fan.
Yeah.
But I feel like, so we're not going to talk about the snubs here. Because, there's a lot of...
All right, you know what, Michael, fine.
Snubs. And I know where you're going, Michael, and I'm with you.
Aunjanue Ellis deserves something for... Well, I don't think this is the right category, though. But Aunjanue Ellis still, regardless, deserves something for her work in The Clark Sisters. I would actually say...
Yeah, wait a minute. You're right. We got to talk about that. The Clark Sisters. Did they get...
Yeah, the Clark Sisters didn't get anything. Aunjanue Ellis was a tour de force performance.
Were they eligible?
Yeah. I mean, we're not for this category.
What's the date cutoff for?
Oh, it was like May.
This came out like May, like Mother's Day.
Yeah, no, but it was eligible.
It would have been. Oh snap!
Yeah, some of the things like Insecure was still running.
You can't tell me that Dr. Maddie Moss Clark performance,
baby.
Shout out to The Mother and David Makes Man. I feel like The Mother and David Makes Man was absolutely overlooked in this category. Like her performance went from, and she grew in it. Like I didn't really care for her the first couple of episodes. I was like, oh, child, what is this? And, by the time we get to the episode of her at work, it was a tour de force acting performance. And I was like, how do you not recognize this? And a shout out to Queen Sugar. None of those actors ever get nominated every season. It's a travesty. In any category, none of the directors, who are all women directors, get nominated in any category. So yeah, I think that the women, Viola didn't get nominated for her last season for How to Get Away with Murder. Though I think, people have kind of reduced her work to the snot cry, which I think is unfortunate. Because obviously Mother does much more than that. So yeah, I think that, since just talking about the women's snubs, because I have other snubs that I had to fell away about. I would even say the lead actress in Devs, who I believe is a Eurasian actress, also deserved a nomination for holding that whole series together and didn't get nominated. So,
what about MJ Rodriguez in Pose? I've heard a lot of people angry that she was snubbed.
I mean, I feel like she definitely deserves a nomination. I just think that the category is so tough. I mean, you just got such powerhouse actresses. But I feel like she grew. I think she grew a lot as an actress. I would not have said she deserved it in season 1, but I definitely feel like she deserved it in season 2.
Other snubs. Johnnie, you have any snubs you want to? There's so many.
No, I think there are. And I mean, I think the big snub, and I went back. So I had a conversation. It's funny that the Emmy nominations will come out today because yesterday I ended up having a conversation with a very close friend about David McMahon. So that friend went back and watched it. So they didn't watch it when I was watching it at the time when we were kind of doing our thing. And they were like, oh, I totally see. And this is a TV person, right? And they were like, oh, I totally see what you were talking about now. Because they got a chance to like sit with it and like go back and like digest it. And they were like, oh, wow. Like there was something here in this show. So if there was something that I would have liked to have seen, I would have liked to have seen more David McMahon in the Emmys this year.
And it's on HBO Max for people who have HBO Max. They can catch up with the whole season, which is actually how a lot of white critics are finding out about it and are catching up. I've seen more recent kind of, oh my God, we missed this, which I feel like is going to probably be the attitude of the Emmy voters. Oh my God, we missed this. But yeah.
I was really nervous about some performances because when I first saw the nominations, they hadn't finished all the nominations, and I thought they had. So I was really, because I mean so folks I was really rooting for this year. Definitely Jim Parsons in Hollywood. I was like, he needs to get an Emmy nomination. 100%. I'm also happy that Jeremy Pope got nominated, by the way. I was really
very happy about that.
That was like one of those performances where when I was watching Hollywood, it was like one of those performances that kind of stuck with me. So like, you know how sometimes you watch something and it doesn't, and you appreciate it, but then it's like you can't stop thinking about it. It's like you keep thinking about it. Like when I think about Hollywood, he's definitely one of the people that stands out in my mind. Yep. So definitely him. Uzo Aduba in Mrs. America, I was like, she absolutely needs to get nominated.
Did you?
Oh, absolutely. I was like,
I agree with that.
Nominated.
I didn't feel like she lost herself as Shirley.
Oh, I think she did. I was like, I'm watching. Oh, absolutely. Her and Tracy Ullman. I was like, those were the two.
I mean, well, yeah, I know you were talking about Tracy Ullman.
Right. So
you're like, Tracy gotta get it. Yeah.
I was like, even at first, I was like, she gotta get. I was like, when I first saw her, I was like, she gotta get to me.
I'm mad at you as long as Cate Blanchett got it. I was good because that performance as Phyllis Schlafly was like,
oh yeah,
that was what acting's all about.
And Jean Smart from Watchmen, I was happy about too because she was like amazing.
Yes.
Yeah, she was really good.
Yeah, I mean, I was sad to see Joe Mantello not get nominated for Hollywood as Holland Taylor's best friend. Like, I thought his performance as this closeted Hollywood executive who was finding himself late in life was so poignant, so heartbreaking, so moving. I thought it was up there with Jim Parsons. I really want to see Joe get that nomination. So, I mean,
Jim Parsons, and I'm a Jim Parsons fan. Like, I love Big Bang Theory. Like, but just seeing him, I was like, yeah, he absolutely.
He embodied that role. Period. Point blank. He embodied that role.
Another performance I want to highlight is Javin Adipo in Watchmen. I was so happy he got nominated.
Yeah, I mean, he's been quietly just doing amazing work. I mean, I loved his work in Fences as well. So.
Right, he played
the son, right?
Oh snap, he did. Which is funny because I've been saying forever that, and anyway, we'll talk about that later. My thoughts about how Fences should be updated for the current moment. Like, okay,
we're talking about good idea.
Fences was like my favorite film. What was it, 2018 or
17, something like that.
I love that, and part of it is because Troy reminds me, the relationship between Troy and Corey reminds me so much about my father. Like, Troy's like my father all day. Like, so much of that energy. Well, except for the cheating on the wife and the baby. None of that. But like in terms of the energy,
Right.
so every time I see it, it makes me, think about my dad. But yeah, I love. Yeah, so that makes me very interested. Yeah, I mean, it's just like all the white girls. Meryl Streep's nominated, Laura Dern. I mean, it's just.
I mean, and that's gonna be. I mean, Meryl was so measured and pointed.
Just when you think that she can't, you'd be like, just when you think, and you're like, how did she like?
She just and she gave you another person you not seen her do.
She can do whatever you put in front of her.
What her to do,
girl? She's gonna help.
I said before about like people getting things like if she won, I know people are gonna feel away, but I would like.
But
it's Meryl Streep, and she ate it. I mean, like I want to see the black women win. But if Meryl won in that category, I was like, okay, well, I mean,
but Laura, in okay. First of all, I love the second season of Little Fires. Big Little Fire. Oops, sorry, Reese.
But I mean, it's the same people who made it. So,
well, speaking of snubs, Reese Witherspoon, she's not nominated.
No, which is crazy because she was brilliant in 3 different things in a row where she played essentially the same kind of character.
But what was the third
white woman? But she a Big Little Lies, Little Fires Everywhere, and there was a third thing too that she was also in. That was within this season that she could have been.
Oh, you know what it is? It's that Apple thing. The network.
Right. The morning show.
The morning show.
Yeah. Oh, yes. I forgot about that.
Yeah, and which was good. I mean, and Google should have got something for that because Google was really good in that. But yeah, no, I was shocked not to see Reese, but Laura Dern, and I mean, like.
I love Laura Dern.
You're on the show with Laura Dern and Meryl Streep. It's easy to get overlooked.
Yeah, that whole category. It's like you have Jennifer Aniston. Wait, I'm looking at the wrong thing. In that category, you have this is like the battle of the awards people, right? So you have Helena Bonham Carter, who I love. I'm obsessed with Helena Bonham Carter, right?
And she was so good in The Crown.
Oh, but she
as Margaret, as the sister. Oh my God,
nasty. Laura Dern. First of all, Tandy Newton.
Tandy. Mm-hmm.
Like she is Westworld.
Westworld is another one of those shows where I watched the first season. She was so exquisite in that whole season, but it's a lot. So I haven't got into the second or third.
Right.
It's
I've
just
seen
so much.
all of it, and Tandy's just
she eats
every scene she's in.
Mm-hmm. Y'all need you need to go back and look at her in Beloved too. By the way, while we're at
interesting.
I mean, the performances in Beloved weren't the problem.
Oh my God! Then there's a battle. Excuse me?
And look at you see Charles. Wait. Charles was like, wait.
What's that?
The performances in Beloved were not the problem. It was a wonderful
problem?
cast.
I think Beloved, my argument about Beloved is that it was too before. Like, I think if Beloved came out now, people would know what to do with it more. I think it was the late 90s. People we weren't really doing.
People wanted Oprah to fail at something.
People wanted Oprah to fail. And I think people didn't quite know what to do. Like, I just think that the timing wasn't, because I'm like, Beloved versus 12 Years a Slave? Or Beloved versus 12 Years a Slave versus Django? Are you serious? Like,
oh yeah.
But 10 years later, it's like everything, a slave film essentially. But then we have the Battle of the Black Men. Well, the Battle of the Award. So you have Mahershala. So outstanding supporting actor in a comedy series. You have Mahershala Ali in Raimi, Alan Arkin in The Kominsky Method, Andre Braugher in Brooklyn Nine-Nine, Sterling K. Brown. So you got Mahershala and you got Andre and you got I'm like, is this like a soldier's story or something? Like, what is it with? Like, are you supposed to play or something? Like, how do you? And you have Kenan Thompson in SNL. Go Kenan.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Well, Mahershala was. I mean, I loved Raimi second season. I thought it was a superior second season to the first season. And I'm glad Mahershala got it. I would have actually liked one for the uncle, for the gay episode of the uncle. I thought that was just.
Wait, what uncle? Wait, what gay
So
episode?
and Raimi has an uncle who's in the closet, who plays like an asshole, and like we went through the whole first season without knowing why. Like he's toxic masculinity personified. He's misogynistic, all of these things, and then we find out in season 2 it's all a front to hide the fact that he's in the closet as a gay Muslim. And it's just, and the performance is riveting. It is groundbreaking. I mean, and it's funny because I actually thought, I was like, is this, guy? And I went to look him up, and he's like a British actor. Like, he's like a UK actor. And, he brought such authenticity to that character and that role. But Mahershala as the father of Raimi's fiancée in season 2 is really good, really measured. I don't know that, and then I love Mahershala, but I don't know that he did anything there that we haven't seen from him before.
My favorite Mahershala performance was in Room 104, the HBO anthology series.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or just finished up a season.
So you saw you saw the
No, I haven't, but I'm saying it's back.
Michael, you have to see the episode that he's in, because he's doing something like I've never seen him perform, because usually he's kind of like reserved and sort of suave, and he's like, I have some other whatever. But in this episode, like they finally directed him and made him do stuff. Like he was super kinetic, like he was like running around and doing stuff, and just very like physical in a way that he normally isn't. Like I don't even know if he really moved. Like I don't even know if I've seen him walk a lot. Like it's like he's always somewhere looking away. Like when I think about Moonlight, or he's like sitting in a car, riding somewhere, but he's not like.
He moved a lot on 4400 when his big.
But that was 20 years ago. I don't know. I don't know about that. But
but I feel you. I mean, so what? So who are we rooting for in this category?
Oh, I'm not really. Well, okay. I'll be. I thought just when I think I watch a lot of TV, a lot of things I watch don't get nominated because I'm like I don't know any of these shows.
Yeah, this is a tough category for me. I haven't seen Raimi. I do want to see Raimi. Brooklyn Nine-Nine, I do like. I've seen a lot of episodes of Brooklyn Nine-Nine, and I think it's really funny.
It's funny, though. I don't see the Black gay community talk about the fact that Andre Braugher has been playing this character in this hit. I mean, this is a hit series where he's a Black gay man in a relationship. He's butch. The kids are always the man in a butch gay. They want to see a butch gay. But I haven't really seen like a lot of like thought pieces about it or anything. It was interesting to see kind of. But Andre always does good work. I think he's usually nominated for the things he does. So
I remember him. Remember he was on Homicide: Life on the Streets, and everybody stood like do a lot around it.
That show was I think it wasn't that many seasons, but I remember that people were really into that show. I wasn't. It was too dramatic.
90s.
Yeah.
How do y'all feel about the fact that Striking Vipers didn't get nominated from Black Mirror?
Oh, that's a good one. Well, okay, so let's put a pin in that. And you know what I'm really mad about? The Good Fight. I'm like, none of y'all gonna get nominated? Zero?
Yeah.
How does that happen? There are these big things where you're excited about what the Emmys does, but then you're like, oh snap! Like, how did that not happen? And you wonder. I don't know what the Emmy process is in terms of how the voting or the selection process.
He's very much in that genre. He's very much in that Sterling Brown, Andre Braugher.
Yeah. He's gonna get an Oscar nomination for The Five Bloods. Everybody's pretty much clear on that. Oh God, yeah, he's absolutely gonna get an Oscar nomination. I think that's probably one of the only performances we know for sure is gonna get.
I don't know. I think we got to see what else comes out because I'm just like,
well, with Hollywood putting a hold on half of their roster for 2020, his competition is looking real sketch. But yeah, The Good Fight, I think for me it depends on which season, because, that timeline, I thought the season before the one that just finished airing this summer, was better. than this current season, where it was all kind of like Alice in Wonderland-ish. I thought the season where they were, feminist women trying to stop Donald Trump, I thought that was a much better and more interesting season than this kind of satirical, tongue-in-cheek season that they just had. I mean, the sad part is Delroy Lindo, after this, will only be able to get nominated as a guest because he's left the series as a regular.
Why did he leave?
He said that if, one, he has more opportunities, but that he wanted to take advantage of including a show where he gets to be the star. And he said, if you look at the trajectory of The Good Fight and the fact that the Black law firm was kind of centered in the first 2 seasons, and that has continually been watered down.
I'm only on season, full disclosure, I'm on season 1, so don't tell me too much.
Okay, well,
I don't want to know.
It gets the Black law firm gets decentered and gets, the show gets a little bit more whitewashed.
That's kind of what frustrates me about the show is that I'm like, wait a minute, why are y'all marketing these white women? And this is a Black show. Like
it's a Black show.
It's like at least the first season. I've only seen the first season.
Right.
We just wrapped up the season finale of season 1, so now we're about to go into season 2. But I'm like, so I felt like that was a little, because on the market, I thought the main character was gonna be
Christine Baranski,
and I'm like, wait a minute, there are like all these Black So anyway, that's that. But Striking Vipers, yeah, I'm actually mad. We should do an action or something because I'm like, and God help me. How do I put this? What's our boy's name? Striking Viper.
Yaya, or we're talking about Anthony Mackie.
Anthony Mackie. Let's just say that I didn't appreciate his acting abilities as much as I did after seeing that episode, because I just thought he just played like a really interesting character, and like not because there are so many ways that it does kind of play on the DL tropes, which of course I'm like, whatever, why are we still doing this? But I thought it was just such an interesting story at this moment. But yeah, Black Mirror I think sometimes gets nominated for things, so I'm a little surprised.
It got nominated, which I thought, because I thought maybe the season was because the Star Trek season got the Star Trek episode got nominated last season, and it seemed to be in the same season as Striking Vipers. So I thought, well, maybe it wasn't eligible, but Black Mirror is nominated in some of the other categories, and so that's why I was like, oh, well, I guess Striking Vipers could have gotten nominated then.
What about do you watch? What about Titus in the Unbreakable Kimmy Schmidt? Thoughts about?
I feel like Unbreakable Kimmy Schmidt was one of those shows, kind of how we've kind of said it's a recurring theme, right? Like, it was really good and really fresh and interesting and quirky and funny the first couple of seasons. And then for me, it just kind of lost. It's such a fine line between funny brilliant and funny silly. And yes. I feel like towards the latter seasons it got silly. And I like in a way that I wasn't interested in anymore. So I actually didn't see the last season.
And I also think, to that point, I think that particular show, I think it was so different and unique at the time that it was released that I think other shows then kind of came and kind of copied that same format. So you kind of have seen that, the very colorful, the very bright, these very big characters and all of that stuff, that then it kind of diminished what that show had kind of brought to the table by, the time, by now. Yeah. So I actually enjoyed the Unbreakable Commission a lot at the beginning.
Did you see the final season?
I didn't see the final season.
Yes,
I didn't. It's one of those things. I just kind of moved on, and I don't think it was on purpose. It was just like, oh, there's many other things that I can watch, and I felt like I knew those characters like really well. I will say, okay, this is a fun thing, and I know Nailed It got nominated, y'all, and I was just like, wow.
What got nominated?
Wow, nailed it. It's a reality show and it's completely ridiculous. And I was so happy that it got a nomination because I was just like, wow, I did not see that coming.
I had no idea. What is Nailed It? I have no idea.
Nailed It is a baking show, but it's all bad bakers. And it is all bad bakers. At the beginning of the pandemic, they were super smart because at the beginning of the pandemic, they released a new season and people was like, listen, I ain't watching nothing but Nailed It. And they had just great, fun people. So the fact that it got nominated for an Emmy is just kind of hilarious to me, and it makes me
Yeah, it's funny. I didn't watch it, but NPR has been, kind of to your point that it was like the perfect escapism show, and then Netflix has kind of been good about making sure that they have at least one total escapism, silly competition show that they're gonna actually release like another great baking competition show, and they were like secretly filming it. They didn't let anybody know. That just got released today. So yeah, I think that it's not my thing, but I love that people have these things, kind of like, what was it, Wipeout, or like the lava show where the people
floor is lava.
like at the lava, yeah. I mean, I think people need that kind of escapism. I was surprised not to see Queer Eye nominated this time. Because I feel like that show always makes me cry. I'm always found myself moved by at least 2 or 3 of the stories. And I was so shocked because like this iteration of Queer Eye was just so different from the original. Like the format is the same, but I don't know, somehow they managed to strike a different chord. I never was moved emotionally by the original Queer Eye. So I think maybe that's the team, but I was glad, I was sorry to see that didn't get kind of a nod this year.
Are there any other finals before we depart?
Justice for Anjanou Ellis, justice for Queen Sugar, justice for David Makes Man, justice for Debs.
and I would say Black creatives write your stories, try to get that stuff made, make it how you gonna make it, do it Issa, make it how you gonna make it. And because we need the stories, like we need and I think that's what these nominations show, is that all these stories are valid, all these stories matter, so we just need more stories. And that's the thing I would leave with everybody.
All right, y'all. Well, thank you so much for tuning in to our Emmys recap show. Yeah, I guess we'll probably have to do a reaction show once the awards happen. We'll probably have to do another update.